Powerful lineup there, perhaps, well, a man of so much magic over the years. His fourth World Cup, Brian Lima, 31 now, and, well, old enough to have played in the colours of Western Samoa. But here is the haka of Samoa. Led by Samoa Satiti, the captain, former man, they'll know him in Cardiff, and now to play for the Borders in Scotland. Exciting night for the supporters here. Huge numbers of Poms in town, and no small number of Samoans either. Well, they've got full points as Satiti wonderfully performed. Great routine. They've got maximum points. England have maximum points. And for Samoa, as it was suggested in the studio, this perhaps the equivalent of their World Cup final. Key element for England tonight, what are you looking to see most of all, apart from the win?
Get the ball, control it, feed it to the backs at the right time, and let's hope they can go up a cog and get running as smoothly as we know they can.
Martin Johnson waits. Earl Va'a, smallest man in the World Cup. Plays for Wellington, but it's been seen, of course, Worcester Richmond Lakila, referee. Jonathan Kaplan from South Africa. Lawrence Dallaglio for England, first of all. Matt Dawson, fit again. Wilkinson. Driven up by Tyndall. Good work, White. Dawson. Watch for the tackling, closing them down fast. England retain control, retain possession, but just a knock-on.
Good start, spoilt at the end. Something England cannot afford to do is throw the ball away in the tackle.
First start for Julian White, tight head on this near side. Julian White now, Leicester, of course, Regan, Leonard. Stephen Soaiola, brother Rodney in the New Zealand squad, powerful number 8. This is the Samoan scrum half. Quickly taken, England encroaching, and already Samoa runs straight at the midfield. Good tackle comes in from Abbott. Abbott, another debutant, taken on by Fa'asavalu. Good ball. Va'a, mismove. Fanaleur. Terry Fanaleur. Once more Va'a. Now the big second row, Palapoi. Well, they're not going to be frightened to take it to England, and they've won a penalty.
Fear is a word they don't know, Nigel. You think they thought they were in for an easy game. I think they're no different now. Strong, hard running of Lima right up the middle. And from this it was that England stepped offside, spotted by the referee. First chance to Samoa.
It's about 5 metres in from touch, near side. There's Jonathan Kaplan. I haven't nominated the choice yet, but I'm sure he'll go for goal. Just very casual about it. Satiti finally beckons to the post. And here's Earl Va'a.
Chat. No doubt he's going to kick for goal, though.
Martin Johnson on duty again. Always puts his body on the line. Selfless in his efforts for England. My word, how effective. Played all 6 in 95, all 5 in 99, all 3 so far for England. And seems to get better with age somehow. But a little nervous moment for England here. This is Earl Va'a, who's within 18 points of the highest total ever by a Samoan player in international rugby. 31 now, but great servant of his country. There'll be more noise when The sound reverberates through the closed roof around the stadium where this goes over. A lot of Samoan support. Struck that well. Absolutely perfect.
He's cool, isn't he? He's having a very good World Cup. One of the many Samoans who travel around the world plying their trade. He's a good little player.
Yes, in England, in Italy, in New Zealand, Wellington born. Well, 27 points in his first 2 games. A nice opening for Samoa. Less than 4 minutes played. Samoa 3, England 0 here in Melbourne. Soala to Va'a, Venture as well, Tanguy Thakimbao. To fullback Vili. And that winger, Tanguy Thakimbao, is someone to keep an eye on. Scored in every test he's played of the first 3 of his career. Great sevens player, they'll try and use him. A moment though, they're in a bit of bother. It's Tomuli in front of his own post. Scrambled away though to Vili. Men out wide, great hands. Superb from Paasavalu. Kept in play. England having to scurry back, taken on by Polos. They're not daunted, they're not overawed. The men in blue here. Fanalua taken on, that's a prop, Leila Manua. Good cover from England, it needs to be. And once more, Va'a. That's Vili, the fullback, and Sititi, Samoan captain. Good sequence of possession. They've taken the game 60 metres upfield. Terry Fanalua again. There's the prop, Leila Manua, taken on by Meredith. Good running. This is Fa'atau. Fa'atau, covered by Cohen, covering for England. Deep inside England's 22. Men over on the left here. Fanalua does a good pass. Away with Paasavalu. This is Sititi, the number 8, to score the try. What an opening by Samoa. Absolutely out of the top drawer. Brilliant.
Well, you will not see many better tries than that, Nigel, for the rest of this tournament. It started in the Samoan 22. It went across the park, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Forwards and backs handling with great skill. England's defence truly stretched. And here, the final breakthrough. England still there. Wilkinson from the last tackle, but they've got men over now. England have run out of men. They've only got to move it wide. Sititi it is who claims the glory. But every one of those Samoans took a hand in that wonderful score.
Well, as Steve Smith said, you'll not see better than this. The handling was supreme. The vision too. I think Fanalua's pass that spread it as wide as they could. Sititi scores the first try against England in this World Cup, and their own 17th.
Fullada, the very detailed England defensive coach. I think we'd have worked that one out on the chalkboard. Start from your own 22. That was fantastic rugby.
The whole sequence, wasn't it, from deep in their own 22 to the try at the other end, a classic. 8-0. 7 minutes on the clock. And with this kick from El Va'a, it could become 10. Absolutely spot perfect. Well, they haven't put a foot wrong, Steve.
Yeah, the team is as cool as the goal kicker. You know, any other team in the world there, trapped in their own 22 against England, would have just kicked the ball out. Not these guys. This is the end of a wonderful movement. And the captain, he deserves it.
Simo Sititi, I think the boarders are grateful they've taken him on board in their squad. Fa'asavalu. And the handling was brilliant. We had prop forwards involved in that. This is Sititi again, and again the adventure. Some big tackles coming in. That time Stuart Abbott up well with Mike Tyndall. I think it was Tyndall who put the big one in. But England shorn of possession so far. And what heart that opening 8 minutes will give to Samoa.
Well, basically, Nigel, England had the ball once and lost it in the turnover. I can't remember Samoa turning one over yet.
They have the penalty. inside their 22, and Satiti just discussing with Ulva. Well, I should think there's some pretty white faces to match the white shirts in the crowd here at the moment. Certainly it will, well, they're going to be concentrating anyway, but England now know they've got to focus, take nothing for granted. I'm sure they weren't. It was just outstanding play from Samoa. Palapoi, now of the Curry Club in Scotland. You'll know him down in Exeter, formerly with Chiefs. Samoa. Over. No way through there. It was Lawrence who got across Dalalio. But they've kept possession for Atau. Into trouble. They're coming in to do their part. Wilkie again. This is where the hard graft goes. England have got that one back. Dawson. Back goes Vili. Mark called. Ungiven. I think at the moment England want to keep the ball in their hands, don't they?
Just thinking that, Nigel. At last, Samoa have turned one over. What do? We kick it straight back to them.
Out just beyond the 22. Mark Regan here. Next Bristol, Bath. Lead stakes now. Off the shoulder. Is it number 5, Lafaili?
Go back, please. Go back, please. England, go back.
Not straight what the referee said. Scrum down to Samoa.
I thought he was about to penalise their second row, but not straight. Can't afford that either. England make a bit of a mess of the Samoan scrum, but they've retained possession. So Ayalo. That's a big kick. That's superb. Well, good things come in little packages.
I told you he could play a bit. Really impressed me last week. He's not only a goal kicker, he really can play.
Well, Rob Andrew will know this man. He had him on loan for a month at Newcastle. Ulva. That was when Wilkinson was on duty. Needed some cover. England drive. It's with Neil Back at the back. Being shepherded along by Matt Dawson. His first cap was against Samoa in '95. Didn't go like this. If you just joined us here, Melbourne's the setting. Samoa, England. Samoa lead 10-0. Plenty of time. Only 11 minutes gone. And penalty against Samoa. Something like the legs of the ball carrier from Jonathan Kaplan. Not sure what he meant by that.
Just thinking what will Johnson do here. He's gone for safety, he's gone for the goal kick. Thought he might go to the corner and try and get some rhythm established, but he hasn't.
Well, I guess if you've got this in your armoury, you use it whenever it's reasonable. Let's see why, if we can judge why the penalty was given. Not really. Mr. 100%, here he is. 105 points, first Englishman to get 100 in the World Cup. And he ain't missed yet. Hope I'm not putting the Indian sign on him. 740 for England. We could do with this one now. Just inside the England half. It's well struck, but it's a miss. Well, it has to be a miss sometime. Nothing to do with nerves, because that guy doesn't get nervous. Just adds a little to the tension there. Samoa, first international, was back in 1924 against Fiji. This is Jason Robertson's first touch of the night. So too Ian Balshaw. They're closing them down. That's Big Ben Cohen, snared. It's still back with Dawson. Wilkinson running out of men out wide. There's only is that Julian White out there. But they've got men left now. Robinson in close. Good work by Tyndall. But Samoa closing them down so fast. That was out. They're in their face.
Certainly are, putting massive pressure on England, and the big hits, as we know, will follow.
Cohen. Still the tackles come in, that time on Tyndall. Belalio. Perhaps he needs to do a bit of taking them on. This is what England begin to do. Ben Kay now. Got to tie them in. And again, we're short-handed outside, England are, and that is. Dawson again going left. Cohen. They don't miss tackles, by and large.
What's happening is now England are forcing the passes. They're taking the tackle, recycling it, steadying the ship. What they're doing is trying to force it out of the tackle. That's a good advantage of Samoan defence, wrapping people up. It's from this, they move wide to the left, and Tyndall tries to force it out. Shouldn't have done.
Well, Clive Wood was very open in saying this was no game to write off as a cakewalk. It's certainly starting in dramatic style. Here's Samoa running out of their end 22 again, virtually. Tanner Vili, the fullback. Robinson in the fullback position tonight, of course. Darts out of one little tackle, a little will-o'-the-wisp, this man. But even he gets taken to ground. Dawson caught up in it himself. Back comes in to help. So too Tyndall. And Tyndall acting half-back. Cohen, strange sort of line-up here, and Cohen's really going backwards, not forwards, but managed to retain possession. But there's still the pressure again on Tyndall. Now it's Martin Johnson trying to restore some order. It's not happening. It's just not happening.
Well, they're going backwards at the moment. Can't find any fluency whatsoever. They really do need to steady this down and get their heads clear. I mean, look at this. Cohen's going across, crabbing across, just making himself a target. In this one, they go even further backwards.
Samoa's put in. Stephen So'oalo. Former captain of the Samoan Sevens side. I've seen their tackling throughout the last year in the Sevens circuit. They are the big hitters. And they're keeping their discipline too. This is Terry Fanalua again. He's not averse to taking people on head first. Scrum half again. Va'a further wide to Tomuli. All 19.5 stone of him.
Defence was good, but it's a Samoan scrum. They've still got the ball. A bit of argy-bargy there between two number 9s.
That's the halfway line. There's Julian White. Got an injury, one of the Samoan forwards. Well, perhaps a little break here in England's favour. Chance for Martin to give them a little wake-up call. Lafayali. They come from 7 different countries, the clubs which these Samoans play for, and this man is one of the players in Japan. And of course, as Steve Smith was saying earlier, they travel the world, they tout their trade far and wide to get a decent living. There's no professional rugby in Samoa, of course, a little tiny group of islands where they don't even have a club championship. But my word, they make their mark in the world game. And don't forget, they're without a couple of hard men in this squad. Trevor Leota, George Harder, Henry Tuilangi. But they're making their mark tonight. So'oalo. Fasavalu couldn't grab it. England have it. Dawson. Now, perhaps a bit of order. Tyndall. Wilkinson with Gone into the midfield. Oh, cleverly spotted by Neil Back. Nearly getting away down the short side, but the ball's been turned over by Samoa. Over making room, finds a gap, tearing his way through the England defence. It's that sense of adventure out of their own 22, the self-confidence that we're seeing as well to take England on.
Typically, isn't it, the South Sea Islanders? Just give it a crack. We've got now to lose. Don't kick it away. Let's run it back at England. Let's do what we're good at. Epitomised by this guy. Yeah, terrific start. Kicking at goal and running out from his own line. And there you see his outstanding strength.
Well, the smallest man, but my word, took a deal of stopping. 31 now. First capped against Ireland some 7 years ago. Had a bit of time in rugby league. And in England with Richmond, Worcester. Briefly Newcastle. L'Aquila in Italy. Wellington in New Zealand. He's done the rounds, he knows the game. Played here in, well, not here, in the World Cup in '99. There's Wilkie, look at the pressure on him. Bang. Tackle of Brian Lima.
Once again, we saw Neil Back trying to force the ball out of the tackle. Didn't have to do that. All he did was just pass the trouble on to Wilkinson.
It's about 8 metres outside the Samoan 22. Ball out England's way. Wilkinson. Big crowd urging some reaction from England. That was not a crossing, says referee Kaplan. Robinson. If he'd picked that up, he was through. He was gone. But he didn't, and he wasn't.
Ball going down the back line just isn't fluent at all. It's like a medicine ball being passed down there.
And the lineup is different every time, isn't it? There's no sort of discipline somehow outside.
Well, Bolshaw basically just overran Tyndall, left him no option. The thing wrong with these guys is one-on-one, because they're going to hit you hard. We know that.
Looks like Jeremy Tomuli has taken a knock. Or is it a bit of maybe a blood wound just out of the picture at the moment? There he is. He plays in France for Colomiers. There's an anxious face. Andy Robinson, Clive Woodward. Well, usually impassive, poker face, but he'll be absorbing this for future games to come. Already lessons to be learned, no doubt, coming to the end of the first quarter of the match. So Oyalo, Elva out of his 22. He's got a boot on him too.
I spoke to Woodward Nigel after the Saturday game. Obviously, he was very relieved and blamed some of the handling errors on the tension of the night, and I can agree with him there. But not tonight. They've got to get it together, and they've got to do it quickly.
Poor throw. Faasavalu. Basic errors at the moment. And they've got men over here. Fanalua. Poor pass to Vili, the fullback. Stop the momentum of the move. Just as well from England's point of view. Leave it white. It's Samoa in possession. Trying to rake it back. They have. That's a prop forward. Tomuli in the middle there. This is Ilva'a. She can duck beneath most tackles. Advantage. There's a penalty to Samoa here, and there was offside, not behind the last line. It's not going right for England here, that's for sure.
I'd say that's within range. Ball coming out. Johnson thought it was out. Referee spotted him. I would say that this is within his range. He's certainly going for it.
He'll have a few apposite words, I think. Martin Johnson there. Well, he's been there, done it. Leicester, England Lions. Not used to this kind of problem. 21.5 minutes. England 0, Samoa 10. And with one kick, it could be 13. El Va'a. Immaculate game so far. Head onto the post, 42 metres. How about that? Oh! Led off for England, Worsley. On the counter, Regan. Wilkinson needing that long left, accurate boot.
A bit of luck from England there. Struck it well, just drifted left at the last minute, hit the post. 10-0 doesn't sound great, but it's better than 13, that's for sure.
Peter Poulos, Australian-born, captain's club side in New Zealand. That's number 6 at the tail. Tail and Charlie. Through the middle. Meredith. Over Terry Fanalua, spreading well. Vili causing England to stretch across in defence. Tyndall with the tackle though. Important one, and now they've turned it back England's way. Robinson tries to find the gap that closes. Ben Kay. It's a penalty to England. He's offside. And they've gone down over the top anyway.
Nigel, we can analyse this game all we want, but at the moment it's quite simple to say that Samoa are outplaying England in every facet of the game.
Sobering moments. 23.5 minutes. And England, a rare visit to Samoa's 22. Probably the best 23.5 minutes Samoa have played in international rugby. Certainly not England's.
This is Neil back territory. We know what England will try and do.
They form round Johnson. Back is there, the number 7. Now they'll drive and then try and wheel it round. Here it goes. Samoa have to scurry back to try and contain this drive. They can't collapse it. They'll concede a penalty try. Here they go. England virtually on the line now. They're finally held, but maybe not sufficiently. They're down. They look. They get the try. And is it Backy again, or is it? Yes, I guess it usually is. And they drag him up. No wonder he gets so many. Finally, they're back on the board with his 16th try for England. And that one matters.
Well, we're in trouble. Go back to basics. Go back to doing what you're good at. It was a beautiful kick to the corner from Wilkinson. You see back at the back, he's the rudder. He's guiding the ship, the white juggernaut in front of him. He's bound, it's legal. Johnson, look at the face on Johnson. He's doing the hard yards, but it's Back who burrows his way in. You can see the ball over the try line. Well spotted by the referee.
Well, he's done it time and again for everybody. Neil back there in the top 10 as the world's most try-scoring forward. And here's one of the point-scoring phenomenons of the modern game, or any other time for that matter, from the touchline. Look at that. Superb. So suddenly, or at last, England have got right back into it. Confidence perhaps at last restored as well. 26 minutes gone. England 7, Samoa 10. Well, they know what they have to do, and I guess they can just stick to that formula. That's a missed touch kick, still in play. Bit of lucky bounce there for Satiti. This is Tanavili. Took a dive. According to referee Kaplan, Johnson. Nice. He's got the bit between his teeth, hasn't he? Stuart Abbott. Now perhaps we'll see England play, as we know they can. There's a penalty here. They're getting all over the place. Samoa.
You know, Nigel, when England were in trouble against South Africa, it was Johnson and Delalio, for me, brought them round. Both had fantastic games. Delalio a bit quiet in this one so far, but Johnson, he's everywhere, isn't he? What a leader. Leads by example. Did the hard yards, it collapses here, then Samoa kill it. It's Johnson that set it up.
You're so right. Yes, he's a rock around which the others operate, and in the tough situation, he's the guy to have on your side in the trenches. Shown that just now. This to level it then. '26th time with Matt Dawson tonight. A little routine. Stuttering moments. Just flexing the feet. And the balance of posture that he likes. Left foot. Looks away. That's what I like. He's gone about 2 yards into the air and he's gone. He's taken the tee and he's gone. He knows it's there. Practice makes perfect. Any youngsters looking in? And I'm sure there are a lot of you. It's 10-all. England back on track. They've had some uncomfortable moments, but relief for that lot in the crowd too. 28.5 minutes gone. It wasn't a dangerous tackle. That was a dangerously bad kick, though. And we've got, is it Ben Kay over on the far side injured? Well, we're just looking at Mike Tyndall. Yeah, Ben Kay has gone down. It may be serious, say one or two of the players. Well, it's not serious by the look of it. I mean, there he's back on his feet, Ben Kay. Play on. Jonathan Kaplan's insisting they play on. So Ben Kay's gone back into the three-quarter line while the line-out takes place. Sensibly not rejoining. There's been a penalty after it had happened. Samoa have possession. They've been without it for a good 7-8 minutes, which is half England's problem. This is Palepoi. Soyalo, Va'a, Fanalua. Oh, great crunch from Neil back. Drop goal, Va'a. Thought about it. Tanguy Pakimbao. As well as pace, Va'a again. They use this fast. Well, they haven't. Meredith has gone up the middle, but still driving to England's 22. Don't think this is over yet. Va'a Savalu. This is, after all, only 10-all. This is Va'a. Vili. Scampering over the top is Fa'atau, and there's a penalty to Samoa. And it's going to be bang, slap bang in the middle in front of the post.
Pulling the half back in. Push back 10.
Kaplan played a long advantage there. Came from the ruck some 2 or 3 minutes before. And I think you think just because they've levelled the score, it'll now be easy. That would be a big mistake. There's the penalty. Delalio pulling the scrum half back in. That's what the referee said. That's what the penalty was for, and it's right in front of the post.
On the 22, in front of the post. I'll be amazed if it's not 30 in terms of Samoa. We are not amazed.
Oh, the cool dude, all VAR, hardly put a foot wrong all night. He's led his team to what has been, for Samoa, a terrific start, beyond their wildest dreams, I would imagine.
Well, you're looking at the right scoreboard if you've just joined us. Live here in Melbourne in the Telstra Dome, 50,000 people or so. It's England 10, Samoa 13. 8 minutes remaining of this first half. And they'll run again. Tanguy Thakimbao. He takes some stopping, he's away. He's got men wide. Not a good pass. Needs to learn that bit. Satiti is the captain. Inspirational captain he's proving tonight. Va'a, so's he. Wide again. This is the hooker. They can all run. Meredith. Hand says the Samoan players. Hand says the referee. It's penalty. Samoa. And probably just in range for Va'a again. Oh, my word. I love their adventure. I mean, this is, as you were saying earlier, Pacific Islanders. It's why people love watching them play. Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Cook Islands, Niue, on we go.
All these attacks, Nigel, they're starting from about 10 metres from their own try line. They're doing missed passes, long passes, risky passes, but the handling has been absolutely immaculate. Tanguy Thakimbao, well, he ran through Johnny Wilkinson before. You don't see a lot of people do that.
I wonder what the bookies would have given for Samoa to be leading at half-time. And it could well be the case. 7 minutes to go, mind you. It's 13-10 Samoa. This could be a 6-point lead. It's close. Oh. Well, someone's shining down on him. He cannot put a foot wrong, and Clive Woodward knows he's got worries.
Well, he certainly has, Nigel, because make no mistake about it, if England carry on playing like this, they're going to get beat.
And that's without looking beyond tonight's game. Big breakout perhaps here, though. Zach Dawson back. Inside Samoa's 22, it's 16-10, Samoa lead England. Johnson again. Back to basics. 5.5 minutes of the half to play. Advantage, it could be 3 points anyway here. It's a penalty, but advantage being played. And that was Neil back up the touchline again. They're going to come back. It's a forward pass, no advantage. England, they'll get 3 points they'll take. I'm quite certain of that in front of the post.
Both sides.
Offside all over the shop, basically. Jonathan Kaplan, the referee, saying there's Neil back. Pops up in useful places sometimes. Couldn't get through. Forward pass letting them down.
Back to Mr. Reliable. Some of the crowd are booing. I don't know why. This is a full-on test match. They need every point they can get. Ball scored here. Reagan up the touchline, gave it to back. Like I say, he pops up everywhere. They dragged him down.
Conversion penalty. Has everyone missed tonight? It's worth remarking. It's so rare. 90% success rate this year. Can't miss this. Oh my word. Never say that, Nigel, never say that. What can I say, Steve?
Well, I can't believe it. I said it once in '91 myself when Gavin Hastings missed a kick in front of the post against England. But I don't believe that one. I really don't.
No, it's 16-10 still. 4 minutes to go. Less than in this first half. I've never seen him miss one in front of the post. This is big hit on Lawrence Dallaglio, playing so brilliantly against South Africa. Hasn't imposed himself, nor indeed of England as a whole in this one. But they're camping inside the Samoan 22. Reverse pass in desperation from Dawson. Bobbles 2-3 times. Touch of the Barnes Wallaces. And again Dawson. Wilkinson. Coming across to the right here. Robinson. Can't get away with that. Not against Samoans. But does set up a half chance on the inside here with Worsley. The build-up's good. They come wide. Wilkinson. He's got to switch it. It's not a good pass. Wasn't knocked on. Now they come the width, surely. Cohen slips as he tries to go up the middle. There's a Samoan adjudged offside, advantage England. Robinson, but they're knocking him every time. Meredith to back, to Johnson. Out wide, they've plenty of men. Dallaglio here, tackled by the smallest man, Var. Worsley, the one-hand pickup, within 10 of the Samoan line. Now Shawley on the left. We can't miss. The early tackle on Robinson, so good, one has to say. It was, well, heads you win, tails you lose. Situation, they had to do it. They're going to get 3 points, or will they go for the try? England have the penalty. It's going to be a word with Leila Manua. Leila Manua, the prop forward.
Who's one?
Jonathan Kaplan, the referee.
Okay. Under pressure, if you're going to infringe like that, we're going to be looking at cards. I'm talking to you for the last time. Okay, I don't want to say it again. Came from completely the wrong side. Yes.
Referee just warning them. Next one will be a yellow card. And this one again, bang in front of the post. Don't say a word, Nigel.
Johnny Wilkins. (16-13). Just over a minute to play this first half. 16 to Samoa, 13 England.
This was after the advantage. I see Johnny Wilkinson took a clip. Johnny Barry, they certainly are pressurising Wilkinson. Not having a good night by his massively high standards.
Well, England have a minute to turn this run round before half-time. They got as far as being on terms at 10-all. It's the only time that briefly Samoa were behind. Just imagine the other countries looking in on this one. Not exactly licking their lips, but probably slightly bemused, as I'm sure many of the England fans are here, who thought it might be a sort of a night of big celebrations. Well, it may yet be, of course, but it's been a revelation this first half. Out of trouble by JW, but they love the counter-attack. Tanavili. Well, he had Tangin Thakimbao outside, and he'll rue that little kick which went direct into touch. 20 seconds to go of the half. Well, we're not quite so bemused as we were, Steve, but sobering 40 minutes of rugby.
Yeah, you can imagine what the Aussie press are going to make of it tomorrow, can't you? They criticise us when we're playing well.
Well, I'll not forget the headlines. Here's Dallaglio. I mean, the classic headlines, you know, the whole front page of the big national paper was full photo of Johnny Wilkinson. Is that all you've got? And that was after a dramatic game and a great win. 16-13 Samoa. We're into injury time, the end of this first half. Could be something up the short side here. But the tackles have been superb. The defence strong and resolute. No surprise, of course, in that.
No hands! No hands!
No hands is the cry from Jonathan Kaplan. England wait. And the crowd are expected to. Robinson again to Dallaglio, to Regan. Or even Regan. quite sure what he was indicating. It matters not. There's the end of an enthralling, unbelievably exciting, but, well, sobering first half for England. At half-time, believe it or not, Samoa lead England 16-13.
Everyone's ambitions are different. You can explore for hundreds of miles, or you could begin a bigger journey. You can make time fly, or you could make it stand still. There's so much more on offer with Mitsubishi. Visit your local dealer or go online.
Goliath, England 13, Samoa 16. First half to David. Dejection from that fella. You've got a point to make about him, Francois.
Yeah, he's got to tell the people, get out of the scrum-off channel. Dawson is the scrum-off, Johnny is the fly-off. They will run the show. We've just got to do our job.
Very quickly, Will Carling.
Yeah, I agree with Francois. This is a time to listen to Jono and to listen to Johnny Wilkinson and Matt Dawson. The rest of you shut up and play.
Back to Steve Smith and Nigel Starmer-Smith.
I hope they heard you. Yeah, we've had, what, 7 scrum halves, I think, Steve, out there?
Yeah, 7 scrum halves and not 1 general.
Well, his captaincy may be the key. England 13, Samoa 16, if you've just joined us. Yes, that is right. In the Dome, in Melbourne. And at the moment, it's every bit, if not bigger, a test for South Africa. They played them twice, England, in the past. Played them in the World Cup, 44-22. A bit closer than that the last time. It was in the same year, 95. Now they're losing. Here England with the same lineup then. Start of the second half. Drop goal, Wilkinson. Be a tidy start. It's drifted left. Veely underneath it. Well, we saw Wilkinson miss the unmissable, I would have thought, in his life, but it happened tonight in front of the post. Normally that would have gone over too, the drop goal.
No, he's not happy. Coming back to that South African game, apart from his goal kicking, his actual general play wasn't up to the normal standards. And that's where he's falling down again tonight, and also, unfortunately, his goal kicking's gone a little bit.
I think for England, one of the worries is almost to an extent, whatever happens now in this game, the question marks will be there in their own minds. Here comes Robinson playing fly half. Why? Dawson. Here's Wilkie. Good pass under pressure to Cohen. Yes, he's got half away this time. Panalua can't grapple him either. Tries again. Big Ben Cohen. 15 and a bit stone. Dawson now. Wild pass, but happily taken by Martin Johnson. Centre field, 30 metres out. Go right.
Number 6.
6 is Worsley, signalled out by Jonathan Kaplan. He's going to have a word with him, is he? In at the side.
Certainly was. No need for it. The ball was coming back. Johnson did all the hard work. Obviously just not thinking.
Martin Johnson, 3rd most capped of all Englishmen. Well, that's the worst moment of ours game so far. At least he found touch, and they get the throw-in.
Yeah, that's the question, Nigel. Can Samoa keep this going for 80 minutes? They certainly had a great 40.
They've got a good coach in John Bowe. He was a coach of New Zealand under-19s when they won the World Cup. That was a darting run from a guy from New Zealand, So'aalo Va'a. This is Brian Lima. There's a man of experience if ever there were. 4th World Cup, 15th consecutive World Cup game, and perhaps the most exciting of his career yet. Doesn't need me to remind what happened to other famous teams at the hands of Samoa.
Originally down, and then you got to your feet.
Victory over Wales, of course, was one of Samoa's greatest days in the last World Cup. 38-31 in '99. At the bottom of the heap, Brian Lima, player you'll have had great respect for over the years, Steve.
Fantastic. 4 World Cups. Starting on the wing, of course, lost a yard of pace. Now coming to the centre, still very effective.
Outside that man, Earl Va'a. Va'a with 3 penalties. Conversion of that early try. A superb piece of rugby rounded off by Satiti. Goodley, Lafayette, Va'a, straight through to Fanalua. Nice linking here. Poor kick. Fa'atau. Lightning quick, but this Wellington Hurricane, who wears tattoos on his thighs. There's John Bowe up there, looking on. Michael Jones, who's been a key assistant to John Bowe in this preparation for Samoa. Bringing these players from all corners of the rugby playing world. England just outside their 22. Dawson trying to marshal his troops, shepherding them. This is where the power battle goes on. Slip to Dawson now. Wilkinson in his 22. Touch of the Samoan enterprise here with Tyndall. Big tackle comes in. I think that was Lima again. With Fa'asavalu. Dawson darting, probing, held by Tanguy Takimbau. Again, Dawson knows back under pressure. There's pressure, good take, that's forward, not given. Yes, it is. But will have to come Kay and the ball.
And then a forward pass.
First infringement, not then a forward pass. England put in.
A bit more confidence from England. Trying to run the ball out from their own 22.
He just stood his ground, yeah.
Still an overfluent. That was the forward pass. Matt Dawson, first time we've seen him have a snipe. Needs to do more of that.
Crouch and hold, wait for me.
England's most capped scrum half. 8 years ago, first cap for England, Samoa the opponents. I remember his 54th. Tyndall trying to attack from the back. Oh, big pressure on Dawson again. They do close down. That's good play. Well done by Stuart Abbott. As Stuart Abbott, first outing in the World Cup. This new man, something of a late claimant to a World Cup place. Did well here.
Yes, the break was good. Unfortunately, at the end of it, didn't keep hold of it, threw it away. Knocked out of his hand, really, but you've got to protect the ball in the tackle.
I've got a hold up here. There's Stuart Abbott once more. Well, spent a bit of time in the Western Province with Currie Cup rugby and Super 12s, but an English mother and a London Wasp with Terry Fanalua. I not want to lose him.
Well, he's a key man. Very popular lad down at Gloucester. Very good player.
That's a big blow. So on comes Dale Rasmussen. Terry Fanalua, as well, Nigel Melville will know better than anybody his strengths, which have been seen to good effect tonight already. Ben Cohen now will certainly help England's cause. They've lost their centre. Good angle.
He was right-footed this time. Did the right thing, saw the space. And the need to get down there. Play some territory rugby. Get hold of the ball, get some structure to the game. There's none at the moment.
So they bring on the New Zealand provincial player, Dale Rasmussen, alongside Lima in the centre. This line out, just outside the Samoan 22. The captain, Satiti, nippy little scrum half, unlucky here. crowd don't like it. Close call. England will be happy, though. What relief. He was on his way, the scrum half.
To be fair, Nigel, the referees have been very hot and not straightened the line out in the whole tournament, and they're right to be as well. Scrum half's in agony. He's got to go back to the scrum.
The only difference between him and you is you might have said something after that. No, I don't mean that. Dawson to feed. Good chance here for England to create. They need to. 16-13 they trail, and there's a clutch of England players ready to come on. Hooker, prop, and back row all wait there. Thompson, Vickery, and Lewis Moody are on the touchline. And that should stiffen things up a bit. Well, the crowd are singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. It's a scrummage that's going low at the moment. But not England's morale or hearts yet. It's a long way from anything like a final whistle. 8 minutes into the second half. Dawson.
Right scrummy, 9.
Wilkinson. Oh dear. Just hasn't worked for him tonight. He's made these errors uncharacteristic. Balshaw tied his up. Kay did well, took it low, drove hard. Lima in there with the tackle. The scrum half grapples opposing scrum half. So Arlo and Dawson. And that's going to be a turnover. That is ball England cannot afford to lose. VAR has come off with England hand. It'll be an England, well, I thought it came off an England hand. It's going to be back out on the full.
I just can't believe what I'm seeing, Nigel. I mean, one thing England are always good at is ball retention. Everything else goes wrong, they keep the ball, they start again. The turnovers in this game by England have been just amazing. Of course, once you turn the ball over, you've got to fight hard to get it back. On comes the heavy artillery.
To the bench for Matt Regan. Thompson, Vickery. White is off as well. Good run, Abbott. Here's Tyndall. They're lining up outright. Wilkinson. There's advantage for offside already called. On the short side, Robinson. And snared once again. Still men out wide here. Very wide is Cohen. Cross kick might work. It's a bit too late now. Fa'atao is covered. Big drive on by Dawson. Thought he'd duck underneath. That's Delalio. Again, England. That's the goal line. Abbott. Wilkinson. Balshaw up there. Cohen. Some great defence here. Surely England now. Robinson. Wilkinson. All offside are the Samoan team in its entirety, I think. Wilkinson. Johnson. They've got to raise it to their defence. Dawson, flick inside Cohen. They even covered that. It's going to be a penalty after all. Miraculous in some ways, the defence, because that was a real battering and ram of an England attack. Quickly taken, Cohen. Not sure which way he's going, nor does he. That's the line still. Surely something must give. Abbott. Well, we've seen some great tackling sequences, and then it's a total mess-up with Steve Thompson's pass going awry. Well.
Samoans, heroes to a man. Unbelievable defence. Thompson, why are you doing it? Keep hold of it. You know, the ball retention in that phase just got a lot better, and suddenly we throw it away again. Get back to doing what we're good at.
Well, they've lost Terry van der Leur. They can't lose this man. He is the key. Well, I wonder what's going through his mind. Anger, Frustration. Captain here is Satiti, and Jonathan Kaplan's telling him, you know, there's a little discipline creeping. It's often been a problem with Samoan rugby, heated moments in a game where they lose their cool, but tonight they've kept their discipline. Well, they've got to face another barrage and another big England scrum, this time with the heavyweights in there. It's collapsed. It's going to be a penalty try. Back to basics, and that's where England reign. Penalty try, England, and they take the lead for the first time. It's been a long wait.
Oh, it ain't pretty, but England will take anything at the moment. Samoa's not happy. I said the heavy artillery were coming on, and they certainly have powered back that Samoan scrum. First time they've done it all night. Referee's right, penalty try.
And a cheer of much of relief as anything for England's myriad of supporters. 20 points to 16, and that is the first time that England have been ahead in this whole game. We're 12 minutes into the second half.
England tried everything to get over the try line. They went wide, they went through the middle. In the end, it was an old-fashioned scrum,
which Samoa collapsed, and you cannot collapse it and expect to get away with it. The referee had no choice. Ben Cohen got a little bit individualistic tonight. Wilkinson under pressure. He's made some errors, uncharacteristic errors. It's a tricky bounce here, and Tanguy Thakimbau not able to control it cleanly. He's a talent, this man, I tell you. If he'd got that cleanly, the 21-year-old winger would have taken England on again. There he is.
He's a terrific runner, isn't he? I don't think his hands are all that good, Nigel. He's dropped a couple. Yeah. When he catches it, look out.
6'4", 15 and a bit stone. Takes a bit of stopping, but Balshaw clung to him. 2016. Got replacement Limalu on. Samoa. Tanavili. Now, will he run? Okay. Diving effort by Dawson. In touch. That's unlucky.
One of those nights, isn't it, for Samoa? Well, unless the ball bounces in now, which I think it did.
I think it did. Yeah. So I was about to say, oh, unlucky, but the replay cut it short as it was going onto the line. On the line, remember, is In Touch. This is Va'a. This is Satiti again. Now the little fullback, Tanavili. Oof. Welcome home. Advantage, penalty here on the wrong side. In from the wrong side was Neil Back. It's no good contesting it. I've never seen a referee change his mind from someone's back chat. Usually get an extra 10 metres.
Ryan Neil Back. He's normally king of these situations. The referee said he's going over the top there.
And the cling film jerseys, England. We don't seem to have lost as many of those as we have done in earlier games. There's Neil Back. His picture was all over the papers here. Last time he got his presumably the same gash on the head, the spattered in blood at that clean but almost brutal game with South Africa. Can it be clean and brutal at the same time? I think it was, really. Here's little Elva'a, mini man they call him, 5'5", no one shorter in the World Cup. Not even Brown Redpath or the Japanese scrum half. This to get within a point and keep the pressure really slap bang on England. Quarter of an hour into the second half in the Telstra Dome, Melbourne. Elva'a. He doesn't waste any effort, does he? Look at that. He's a dream.
Oh, he's kicked him right back in it. What England mustn't do when they scored the first try to get it back to 10-all. They relaxed and Samoa came back at them. They've now scored again. They've let Samoa straight back in.
Look at the delight for John Bowe. Well, it's been whatever happens, I sense now a great night for Samoa. For England, well, I guess their main rivals, New Zealand, Australia, France, South Africa, will be saying, look how vulnerable they are. And this isn't like putting out an entire second 15 as a scratch team. This is big time. Ben Kay offloaded by Jason Robinson, or rather Phil Vickery came round. Apologies. No, it was Ben Kay first. He's big too, big Ben Kay. The Leicester partnership that's developed so well, learned a lot from his second row mate, Martin Johnson. Stephen Soayalo. Well, screwing around, crabbing around.
There's a lot of pressure on from this England scrum.
I think I will find him a very useful member of their squad. Well, Satiti did the only thing he could do, pick it up, take the pressure off his scrum half. It would have been snap. Wide to Vili. Darting, weaving. One jink too many, maybe. Could have fed for Atau. Va'a. It's the big number 8 again, the captain, Satiti Va'a. This is Tangi Takimbao against Balshaw. Good tackle, lad.
That's a classic case of showing him the outside, and he took it. He rescued it in the end. Just got there. Let's give this guy too much room. In the end, Belshaw dragged him down.
Tyndall. Brown Lima. The mainstay in the midfield, Lawrence Dallaglio, Ben Cohen. Well, England have made a chapter of errors throughout this game tonight. The relief, I'm sure, for we get glimpses of that great New Zealand flanker, Michael Jones, who's been a key influence in putting this Samoan side together. Not the imposing performance from Lawrence Dallaglio that we saw against South Africa. It's not been an easy night, really, for anyone.
Going back to Michael Jones, Nigel. First couple of games Samoa played, we said they cut out the penalties of the rucks and mauls. It would be a difficult team to beat. They've done that. And it's England who have given away the penalties.
And now the tension mounts. We're coming up towards the last quarter of this match. England 20, Samoa 19. You will have heard, of course, the one-point victory for Ireland over Argentina. No doubt by now, if not, they're through that game anyway. 2019 here in Melbourne. This time England have a penalty.
I thought that was going the other way. And this time, keeping the discipline. Samoa holding on. Relief.
Well, there hasn't been the conviction in the singing either, understandably. It's rather a lame swing low, sweet chariot. I think one of the wheels almost coming off.
Yeah, one can handle. We don't want them both off, do we?
No. Steve Thompson here, third game in succession. Oh, thank you very much, says Fa'asavalu. Va'a, educated boot that. Oh. Well, there's a lot of uncommitted people here who are getting noisier and noisier in support of the underdogs.
Let's make no mistake, people are asking, can Samoa pull this one out of the bag? Well, the answer to that one is yes, they certainly can. They're fired up.
Well, we've seen them, haven't we, on the 7th circuit often enough, Steve, and we know their capabilities. They're capable of beating anybody in sevens, and tonight we're seeing that potential being translated into 15s, and they've got a penalty chance here, whatever the outcome of this phase. He wants the penalty, thank you very much. Not a bad decision by Polosk, because 3 points can give Samoa the lead again, and the way Elba'a is kicking, you wouldn't bet against it.
This time I think it was Moody. 2 line-outs, 2 England throws, lost both of them. I can't believe what's happening, neither can I. And then they give away another penalty at the breakdown. And the Samoan bench is rightly smiling.
Tense moments here. It's getting serious. Martin Johnson. Well, they fought valiantly and powerfully to subdue South Africa. 25 points to 6. They've had a long break since then. That was more than a week ago, 8 days ago. They've had time to get over that. They've lost Richard Hill. We all know what a key player he is, temporarily anyway, due to be ready next week, and Will Greenwood back in the fray again. But now, with less than 19 minutes to go, there's a kick coming up, and the tension only mounting because Jonathan Kaplan, the referee, is having to have his microphone adjusted. Adds the pressure on this young fella. Well, he's not sorry young, he's 31, but well, still comparatively young. Elba'a. Well, he's scored how many points already in this game? He's got 4 penalties. 4 penalties, 1 conversion, that's 12. 14 points. 14 points, which puts him within 4 points of the all-time Samoan scoring record, held by Andrew Ailupo. 180. I wonder what England now can do.
Well, this could only have added to the tension.
Almost 51,000 here. Did any of them dream they'd be seeing this? Samoa with a kick to take the lead. 18.5 minutes from time in the Telstra Dome, Melbourne. This is Elba'a. This for a 2-point lead. How cool can you get? How cool can you get? Samoa 22, England 20.
Cool is the word. He just strokes them over, doesn't he? Doesn't even look like he's going to miss. Pressure on him there was immense.
Well, this is turning into something of a nightmare for England. Latest replacement, Dale Rasmussen, sets it up for Samoa. Elba'a, he knows what to do. It's in touch.
Samoan's going down with cramp all over the place.
Well, just contemplate the build-up, the preparations, the months of work, every possible assistance England have had for his running from Stuart Abbott, who's 1 or 2 useful incursions, the youngster. Now offloaded by Wilkie. And that's Cohen, who's come across the far side. Still short of the line, Dawson. Cover back, it's only about 7 metres out. Looked out by Robinson. Now to Tyndall. It's not a great pass, back makes something of it though. Keeps the momentum going. Kay's on the wide left, but Tyndall comes right to Robinson, darting, weaving. Can he find a path through? Not that way. It's still there for England though. Balshaw going wide. He's there, is he? Just taken out in the corner. The ball flicked sensibly inside to keep the ball in England hands. Back. Big hit on Tyndall up the middle. Dawson.
That is wide!
First. Drop goal attempt is good. Wilkinson with a snap drop goal to recapture the lead for England in the blink of an eye. Out of the blue, out of nothing really.
Paulshaw made the break. It was a 2-1 here. Actually should have gone. Mind you, Jason Leonard outside. It probably was a good decision. They rescued it, brought it back in field. It was a penalty in the end, and Wilkinson had a free shot for the drop goal. He got it.
Well, it came like a bolt out of the blue for England's sake. It was manna from heaven. Johnny Wilkinson, the master craftsman, compensating for an earlier miss. So it's 23-22 to England. But no one can relax yet. We've still caught him out of play. Wilkinson fires a long missile this time down the line, but covered well by Satiti. Tanavili, fullback, goes for the long touch find. It's way in field to Delalio. To Wilkinson. Robinson. Another scampering, darting run, and has the pace on the outside this time. Finally caught from behind. And the ball in touch. Nearly got all the way.
Wonderful break from Robinson. First time we've really seen him in space. Slicing through the Samoans. Covered back well. Gets the ball loose, and I've got to say, there's not many England shirts there at the breakdown.
And there is a man to do it. Brian Lima, 31-year-old. Tuiave'i comes on. Samoa run out by Rasmussen. There's a breakdown and pressure now on Tanguy Takibau. With the scrum half, So Oyalo. 23-22, 14 minutes to play. Samoa's put into the scrum. Every little decision now vital. And I think Dawson, is it Dawson who's gone down? He's had, no, it's who's that behind row? It's Stuart Abbott. To the bottom of that heap there. Obviously may have fallen awkwardly.
Result is scrum down. Samoans are going down now with cramp. They're absolutely exhausted. They've given everything.
And giving it to good effect here tonight in Melbourne. 13 and a half minutes to go. 1 point in 45. That's the margin by which England lead. One of the World Cup underdogs, Samoa, who beat Georgia 46-9, Uruguay 60 points to 13. Gave promise of good things to come. No one thought it'd be quite this good. And certainly quite this difficult for England. Not home yet. Here's Robinson, though. Jason Robinson, Sale Sharks. Balshaw. Great cover from Rasmussen. But made available still. Good support from Robinson to do that. Kay. Cohen goes for the gap. Clung to valiantly by Sa'alio. Well, they're good at turning them over. Samoa should never have been able to win this one back, but they have. Brian Lima is there to feed Vili. He missed last time that vital touch, but he didn't this.
England have not played well, we all know that, but one thing we must not take away from the Samoans is how fantastically well they've played. You're probably watching one of the greatest displays in World Cup history of the underdog. They really have given everything and played some terrific rugby.
Oh, it's been undoubtedly one of the great contests for one of the unseeded nations ever in the history of the game since '87. You know, their victory over Wales was pretty dramatic in '99, but Wales were not the fancied team that England here are today. But England have a penalty, player in the side.
Now they can kick for the touch. We're assuming, of course, they're going to win their own line out. They found that pretty hard to do since Thompson's been on. His radar needs to adjust pretty quickly. They can't afford to lose 3 on the trot.
Johnny Wilkinson down to the 22. Just spotted Stuart Abbott getting a bit of cramp as well. It's been a hard night all round. Here's Steve Thompson. Oh, for me, a world-class potential match winner for England. His throw-in is good. Wilkinson, oh, was that offside? Probably not. What a good judge. And Balshaw races home. That is the one that gives England breathing space at last. Perfect judgment. Huge pace of the young wing three-quarter. Reinstated into England colours, first time in the World Cup. You can only say that's a vital score.
You can say that again. They tried to go through the middle, got nowhere. They tried to go around the outside, got nowhere. This time they go over the top. It's a wonderful kick from Wilkinson. His wrong foot. Balshaw in full flow, took it on the volley and scored a crucial try for England.
They'll want this to go over as well from Wilkinson. (28-22) is a 6-point margin. 8 would be a real comfort break. Not this time. Not this time. 10 minutes remain. A converted try is still the target for Samoa. That was a kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a beauty. Balshaw knew it was coming. Samoans concentrating the defence in midfield. Balshaw's happy.
Well, we've got the extra speed of all the skinheads in this England side. It seems to have become the way of things these days. Go faster haircuts. Cohen. Dawson. Wilkinson. And Mike Catt has sloped onto the field. Now there's a story. Mike Catt, last cap 2 years ago, selected, I think in most people's view, quite out of the blue, but a very, I thought, shrewd choice as someone with a bit of experience, generalship. 57th cap, age 32. He's come on as replacement. I did think that Abbott had got a bit of a twinge, and I think he's checking down the line. He's the one who's gone. So a fresh pair of legs as well. Here he is, straight into the action. Up comes Veely. Catt has the tackle, makes his mark early. Yes, Abbott is the player he's replaced. Dawson for somebody. Almost intercepted. It's going to be a knock-on. Little moments that mean so much. Away by Phil Vickery. England beginning to run a little more fluently now. But Samoa unrelenting in their effort. You've got to hand it to them.
The last thing England want to do now is float passes out like that. An interception, that could be game, set and match. If in doubt, keep hold.
It's a converted try, that's all. Well, the usual flood of late changes. Dominic Feonati, one of the players who does actually play in Samoa, his club rugby. They don't have a league or anything, they just have a social weekend of rugby matches. He plays for their leading club, Maris St Pat's. Came off a blue hand. You probably heard the referee's call. England driving to the 22. The replacement band there doing well. There's Moody. Wilkinson. That's Catty, Mike Catt. Good feed too. This is Balshaw from the right to the left. Here comes Robinson. Trying to find Cohen, I think, as he pirouetted. Well taken, JW. Dawson, not the cleverest pass. Catt. Vickery. That is his first try for England. It's a cause of special celebration. No wonder there's that grin over his face, because he knows that with it, he's made England safe.
There's a bit of a dummy sidestep here from Vickery.
It's the Cornish. This is the Cornish one, isn't it?
He is delighted. England are relieved.
And that notches up a scoreline of 33-22. Let's not forget, in a game as close as this, that 4 tries also means a bonus point. Seen that pose before. Just a little flaw tonight, but you don't get many, do you? Tremendous.
I think about a bonus point. England will be glad to get a win. 20 minutes ago, it was looking desperate. But to be fair, England's fitness and power in the end have told. Scored 2 good tries. At last, can breathe a massive sigh of relief.
35-22, 5 to go. Don't say it's over yet. Ben Kay. Well, it's been a great night for Samoa. Whatever happens now. Truck and trailer, you know what that means. It's the fact that you've got the players in front of the man with the ball, with the man carrying the ball behind the front runners, not properly bound in. Truck and trailer, it's a new word, isn't it, in the English language now.
It's a good way to describe what's happened, though, Nigel. If you get detached from the maul in front of you, you become the trailer, you're away from the truck, and therefore you're offside.
Been a bit more of a case of horse and cart tonight, hasn't it? There's the replacement scrum half, that's Denning Tyrrell. Well, they've given everything. They've run the rule over the replacements to Samoa. This little beautiful archipelago of islands will be proud. Can you imagine they'll be all watching this, and they'll have been so proud of their fellow countrymen, even if most of them, all bar 4, play in foreign lands. They are men of Samoa. They are proud, and justly so. England, well, not quite as intended. Hasn't gone according to the script. Watch for the drop goal. No, it's taking them on. VAR. Charge of Simon Lemalu. This is the inspirational captain Satiti. Captain play didn't. Palakoi just ran out. Quick England's showing. Oof, my word. Tuavai really decked somebody. I think it's Wilkinson. We'll be pleased to see him get up, which he does. Oof. Wow, I think I better get some cotton wool and take him off. Not a happy bunny is Clive Woodward and Andy Robinson. They're not going to take much comfort from this. I have a horrible feeling other countries will.
Absolutely. I can't believe it, can you? Run down the clock, and what do England do? Take a quick throw in the line out. And the star man gets absolutely drilled into the ground. No wonder Woodward was shaking his head. Oof, it's a massive tackle.
Well, 44-22 in '95 World Cup. 35-22 tonight. But then in '95, it was not a team that was expected to win the World Cup, that is. Collapse by Samoa. Minute and a half to go. Well, Steve, haven't really had time, have we, to collect our thoughts on this one, but what do you make of it all?
Well, we can talk all night about England's failings, and there have been many, many of those, which I no doubt we'll read about in the press tomorrow, and Woodward will get hold of the team and go through everything. But I'd like to talk about the commitment and skill shown by Samoa. Surely the greatest night in their rugby history. They've been absolutely outstanding.
Well, the contrast, I think I said in the opening, David and Goliath. David's had his night here again. He hasn't conquered the opposition, but my word, he's given him one hell of a battle. And still they go. And if you compare the preparations that's gone into Samoa's World Cup with England's, still they run. Zach Lima once more. He's a magic man. Absolutely magic, playing his 15th consecutive World Cup game, a record for anybody.
We all thought Samoa would run out of steam at the end. They're not fully professional, most of them, like the England boys, but they haven't. They've fought right to the death.
We're in the last matter of seconds now. This will be, I guess, the last play, and England in no mood to hurry. Steve Thompson here, this 24-year-old. With the throw, Johnson, Palms. I think Balshaw has gone down the far side. Could be the final whistle coming up. Johnny Wilkinson, key drop goal he had earlier on. That's Balshaw. Still Samoa, game as ever. Just looking across, I'm slightly concerned with Tyndall receiving attention, but I think it's more cramped than anything else. He's not on the field at the moment, and Dan Luger's preparing to come on. Well, we're into the extra time being added on to the 80, including injury here. Ilva'a. Brian Lima, a legend before tonight. It's a penalty. And Samoa will probably get the last play. Jonathan Kaplan, the referee, just looking across. What's he doing on? Oh.
22 off. 22.
22.
Who's 22?
Dan Luger is 22, who's come on because on the far side of the field, Mike Tyndall has gone off, and he hadn't had proper permission, hadn't gone through the proper process to get the referee's attention, just allow him to come on. Well, the crowd, I'm sure, will be willing Samoa to get a score, because if they could get one and convert it, they would get within 7 points of the England total and earn a bonus point. England, of course, have victory now. It took some time to become anything like a certainty. Is another penalty here. England offside.
Earned at least a bonus point, Samoa, haven't they? They have been terrific.
Tanavili. Well, they love their rugby. And Opala here. Elva bounced in the end by Dawson. But I think their fitness levels, that's what's amazed me. I mean, they had none of these specialities that have been enjoyed by England, and not a bad option taken by Ben Cohen, because that is going to be the final whistle. Well, the crowd rise to Samoa. Tonight, I sense, has been their night. England have been not run into the ground. They kept their composure at a crucial time to win the game, but what can you say? It's days like this, games like this, that make a Rugby World Cup. So, all credit to Samoa. The relief is there for England. And so, from Steve and myself, we'll have reaction coming up from Melbourne and from the studio after the break. The final score, England 35, valiant Samoa 22.